So welcome to the Network Development Meeting. And I'll start with the KAIROS mission statement. We are Indigenous, settlers, and newcomers in Canada, working with people of faith or conscience all over the world for ecological justice and human rights. The next thing I have on, before we approve the agenda, I'll just say that our secretary for today is Janice Elser-Ethier.
And can I say that Janice did circulate the agenda ahead of the meeting?
Yes.
Yes.
So it's in the package of material that you received from Janice.
That's right. And besides having circulated the agenda, and if anybody has any changes to the agenda, just let me know. And otherwise, also she circulated the minutes from the meeting of the last network development meeting was September the 30th of 2023. And it was at Bluerdale United Church, where Reverend Brian McIntosh was serving at that time. So I don't see any changes to the agenda. Anybody making any changes to the agenda? Sorry, I got to put myself on gallery here. And then the approval of the minutes from that date. Does anyone, or I've actually asked already Tom Sagar to move the approval of the minutes.
So move.
And then I just need a seconder, please.
I will.
Okay, from Janice. Thank you, Janice. And can I just have, please have either of hands up that I can see, or a hand up from your reactions if you approve the minutes of 2023, please. All right. I see nobody saying. Anyone object? All right, so we'll approve the minutes. And the next thing we have on our agenda is that we have some people who are not involved in the last 2 years. They have become retired or not able to be involved in the Great Lakes St. Lawrence region of KAIROS. So we're going to be doing tributes to those people. And the first tribute is going to be by me. And my tribute is to Betty Ann Platt, who has retired from being the treasurer. And also from the contact coordinator position in KAIROS Great Lakes St. Lawrence. As this is the tribute to Betty Ann. Betty Ann Platt will be known to many of you because she has been involved in KAIROS since it began in 2001. Before KAIROS was brought together from faith coalitions, she was active in 10 Days for World Development, a coalition of church organizations involved in justice issues in the 1990s. Betty Ann was the chair of the Great Lakes St. Lawrence Region Coordinating Committee in 2015. She shared leadership with Elaine Garreau, continuing this leadership as the regional representative to KAIROS National from 2017 to 2019. She then continued to volunteer her time as the treasurer and contact coordinator. Betty Ann was in contact with other KAIROS folks in the Durham region. She organized the 2021 Fall Conference on Treaties with guest speaker Dave Mowat of Alderville First Nation. Betty Ann resigned as treasurer and contact coordinator earlier this year. When she is in Whitby, she enjoys time with her family. She travels with her husband to the Dominican Republic, where they support schooling. And Tom Sagar has added to this tribute. I met Betty Ann when she came to the KAIROS Fall Conference at Mount Alverna Retreat Center in 2004. At the time, Great Lakes St. Lawrence KAIROS was organized into sub-regions, and Betty Ann was a rep from the Whitby area. In 2005, we got to know each other while preparing for the 2006 fall conference in North Bay. We tried our best to make that conference on Aboriginal perspectives on water, one of the most memorable conferences we ever organized. From the point of view of the Great Lakes St. Lawrence Committee, Betty Ann emerged as a key person in the planning of that event, and as we learned subsequently, for numerous other key moments during the ensuing 20 years. Jane joined me for another event in Whitby, a fundraiser that Betty Ann with her husband were organizing for a foundation that they organized, a charity in the Dominican Republic. That fundraiser made it clear to me that whatever was going on in KAIROS or in other endeavors, Betty Ann would always be 100% there for the best interest of the organization. Thank you, Tom, and thank you to Betty Ann for her years of faithful support. And we have, I think, at least 2 other tributes to people, and maybe I'll call on Elaine first to speak about a minister that you worked with in Simcoe County.
Thanks, Sherilyn. I just wanted to make a tribute to a member of Simcoe County KAIROS. He hasn't been involved at the regional level, but he was involved in the Simcoe County KAIROS group since 2011. And we are heartbroken in Simcoe County because Reverend Keith Boyer passed away suddenly on August 30th. He was 83 years old, but so vibrant, was still going out jogging, was still helping out in the Presbyterian churches in the area. And he was a voice of wisdom in our group. And I just have a bit of a prayer that we said to him at our last meeting. We remember his kindness and how valued and seen we felt in his presence. We remember his confidence in the way of justice lived out in action. We remember his wisdom and intelligence and amazing way with words. We remember his faith in the goodness of people, his love of the earth, and in his belief in love lived out through words and actions. We really miss Keith. Thank you.
And if I may add something, when the Simcoe County group was being formed, Jim Lindsay and I went together and we got to know Keith and the emerging people that became the leadership of Simcoe County KAIROS. So I have good memories of Keith. Thank you very much for that tribute.
Thank you, Tom. Thank you, Elaine. And Brian McIntosh, Reverend Brian, do you have a tribute also to Mary Wilson?
I didn't prepare one as clearly as either of you, but I do have a desire to recognize the long contribution of Mary Wilson, who for 40 years, I believe, was an active member of KAIROS Toronto West and its various iterations prior to that day, maybe, I don't know, 10 Days for World Development, maybe prior to that. But she was variously our chair, our co-chair, our longtime treasurer, and did things without a whole lot of access to computers, which is interesting. But she was diligent in her preparation of written materials for our meetings. And she was also our archivist in a way. I've inherited, as the new co-chair or chair of KAIROS Toronto West, all the workshop posters that we've done for 40 years, and all the materials, our minutes and so on, and other items. So if there's a KAIROS archive somewhere, we need to pay great tribute to Mary so that I can make those contributions to that archive. But she was a person of great spirit, positive energy, great commitment, and always cared deeply about the logistics of a gathering, whether it be food or a accommodation of people and making them feel comfortable. And wasn't all that comfortable, I don't think, in speaking at events, but is fondly remembered. She's still living, but she had to move due to various health challenges up north to be closer to her daughter. So she's no longer in our area and no longer active in our group. But I know that a few people online here remember Mary fondly and all that she did for KAIROS Toronto West, including Tom, I'm sure.
Yeah, thank you very much, because I went to her send-off from her home church in Etobicoke a few weeks ago, and I met her daughter, who lives in Aurelia, and Mary is moving into a place that's, I don't quite forgotten the name of it, but it's basically across from the Royal Victoria Hospital on the other side of the highway. And I'm sure she'd welcome visit from people in the Simcoe County area. She is remarkable, and I have wonderful memories of Mary and her husband Bill. Bill loved jazz music, and he was a compelling person. He got people to go to their jazz concerts and everything else. But I have wonderful memories of the Toronto West KAIROS that was led by Gene Smith, and Mary was the faithful assistant for years. And Gene was the visionary, and they came up with these speakers. And so what we've got, and the archives, there's some archives in quotation marks in my basement, but they're now in the back of your car, wherever the archives are. We need to have a little
Right
group
behind me.
I know, we need to have a little committee to compile the archives such as we have of our past, because it is a remarkable past. The Great Lakes St. Lawrence benefited greatly from the group from Eculinks and from Toronto West KAIROS. In fact, at our gathering, we met Karen McPherson, who referred to Eculinks. Eculinks is another organization that ran parallel to KAIROS, and I wasn't aware of until fairly recently. That brings me to a point that we should discuss at our meeting: how to strengthen our network, because there are various ways of doing that. But I remember so many happy times with Bill and Mary and Larry and Gene Smith. We had a blast going to different conferences in Ottawa, London, etc. KAIROS is a great friendship builder, and I don't want that to be lost. Yes, our speaker, Sarah Hernandez, talked about deep relationality. Yes, reciprocity. That's what KAIROS is all about. We've got to be, despite our difficulties with technology, we've got to maintain that basis that makes KAIROS the wonderful organization that it is and can be. Thank you.
Thank you, Tom, and thank you, Brian, for bringing a message about Mary Wilson. Does anyone else have anyone that they're aware of that was very, very involved in KAIROS and we need to speak about if they're not able to continue? If not, then I have the privilege of being able to present Ask Paul Gehrs, Reverend Paul Gehrs from Winnipeg, from the Evangelical Lutheran Church in Canada's head office, to bring the steering committee greeting. Please, Paul.
Thank you. So I am speaking to you from Treaty 1 territory, which is the land of Anishinaabe, Cree, Oji-Cree, Dakota, and Dene people, and homeland of the Métis Nation. And yes, I am in the city of Winnipeg. If you don't know, in downtown Winnipeg, two rivers come together, the Red and the Assiniboine. And you more likely might know that rivers and water, and especially the junction of rivers, can be a very sacred and holy space. It has been a gathering place for thousands of years for Indigenous peoples, and you hear in the names of the different nations because people came together. They came together for trade, they came together for play, they came together for spiritual renewal, and that's the heritage we walk in. As was stated earlier, it's important to acknowledge the breaking of the treaties and the harms that have been done. And one of the things that's happening in Manitoba is we have a First Nations premier in Wab Canoe, and that we're very honored that he brings that part of his formation into that very very public role, which is obviously public in Manitoba and also public on the national stage. Just for me, acknowledging territory is part of the sacred and grounding practice, and recognizing that the truth, reconciliation, and healing are the things that we need to address crises in climate, crises in communities, and crises in my own family and in our churches. Well, thank you for the invitation. I'm not sure if I should be honored, humbled, or perplexed that you would invite me to the Great Lakes St. Lawrence, which seem kind of far away from where I'm sitting right now, but I'll take it. I was asked, which I will do right now, just formally, bring you greetings on behalf of the steering committee. Greetings is one of those undefined art forms, right? But what I like to do, I want to begin by thanking you for gathering, thanking you for working, thank you for caring, and thanks for a great day around a wonderfully titled event, Who Owes Who, and really top quality speakers bringing their words, their minds and hearts and hands to that work. Thank you for the work of lifting up climate debt and of lifting up conflict, climate, and gender. I also want to very publicly thank the KAIROS staff, and that comes very much from the heart of the steering committee. They're very wonderful. We today had the pleasure of being with Beth and Rachel and Shannon, and hopefully Beth and Rachel and Shannon will bring our appreciation back to the staff. I have the privilege of working with them not only as a steering committee member, but as an employee of the ELCIC, or the Evangelical Lutheran Church in Canada. So interestingly, the steering committee has just been meeting for the last 2 days, Thursday and Friday, and they have been meeting on Treaty 1 territory in Winnipeg in our ELC, in our Lutheran National Office. And I'll just super briefly share with you the highlights about that. First of all, for most of us, it was our first opportunity to meet the new executive director, Tanya Principe, in person. So that was a big kind of highlight for that. I'm now playing with technology, trying to do 2 things at once and land something in chat here. But just to say, if you want to get a little sense of who Tanya is, KAIROS posted a video a few weeks ago, and then you might actually get to hear Tanya's voice and not just Tanya's name. As I say, steering committee is very happy to be, for the first time, working in person with Tanya. On our agenda was a solid chunk of time dedicated to strategic planning, and so we're very much in the nitty-gritty wrestling, dreaming stage of that, and so the words are going to be crafted in the coming weeks. We also passed a motion to move towards a balanced budget. I don't know if you read those things in detail, but no one can have deficits for an extended period of time, but especially not for profits. We've been blessed with generosity in a number of circles that we were able to manage deficits, but we're moving towards a balanced budget. So that's coming under Tanya's new leadership and everybody's leadership in the team, just being called back to the word that comes from my faith tradition and others is stewardship, a good stewardship of the resources that we have, and just it's really, the whole money thing's about is its own language of translating. Well, first of all, it's about sustainability and ongoing, because if you just burn through it, then you'll just evaporate. But it's also about translating to the wider world that you're credible and you know what you're doing and you're able to interact in those realms, even if they're not the most important realms, they are one of the measurements. If I think back over the last year, I just want to point out a couple of things. As I say, I've already thanked all the staff. I love all the staff. They're all amazing, and I don't want to pick anybody out, but I don't really want to lift somebody above others. But Murray Pruden joined the staff as Director of Indigenous Programs. That was 2 things. Murray's a former steering committee member, which is where I worked with him first and gained so much respect for who he is and what he brings to the team. And secondly, he's gone into a new position, which, if you've ever gone into a position that no one had before, you have to make it up as you go along. What my daughter compares to building an airplane while you're flying, but
that's a good metaphor.
But Murray is Director of Indigenous Programs, and we're very pleased that the right person, Murray's been called into that, a person of his caliber and wisdom is bringing that to the Director of Indigenous Programs. Secondly, we had a joint staff steering committee retreat, and that was a valuable moment in our life together. And there will be other moments for staff and steering committee to overlap as we take the time in the best possible ways to sort out the leadership and energy we bring to KAIROS. You may or may not know that KAIROS has been involved for a number of years in a restructuring process, the primary goal of which is to separate from the United Church. Things in that bureaucratic world move a little bit slower, not just because of KAIROS. So here's the thing, that a corporation has been created called KAIROS, Faithful Action for Justice, and that will, over the long term, be the new name. And so that corporation exists. The second thing is there's an application in to gain charitable status. And just again, as you speak to the wider world and the laws of the land, to be a charity, churches are bound by working with other charities. And so it will facilitate the movement of assets in that final transition, or that fuller transition from leaving the United Church by getting charitable status. Let me just say, there was a big gap. If you've ever interacted with CRA on the phone, now they want you just to interact with them on their website. And if you thought the phone was frustrating, talking to their chat box is like insane, okay? So really, basically, we had to navigate what was mostly an online process, and it just got slowed down because it's cumbersome, complicated. In fact, CRA themselves have just moved from like no paper, all online, no other options, and even some of the professionals we were consulting with were kind of on new territory. So anyway, the application is now in, and so yeah, it could be a year, it could be less. Because I'm so pessimistic and negative, and that's why I go to communities to meet more positive, encouraging people. I would just say it could be longer, but okay. So, but anyway, we're all looking forward to when that happens, and that will free up a fuller transition and a fuller birth and launch of that. I'm going to say this in a kind of cryptic way, and you can interpret it yourself. These are not easy times. But as a theologian, I want to say most times are not easy. Our faith commonly comes into play when there are challenges. Our faith literally grounds us in relationship to land, to others, to other people of faith and conscience. Our faith grounds us in relationship to the Creator and to the holy. The birth of the new KAIROS structure is a KAIROS moment, a combination of crisis and opportunity. And I believe it will renew KAIROS in faith, in faithful action, and in faithful action for justice. So thank you for receiving me today. Thank you for a great event, the great title of Who owes who. And I will just say in closing that, because I skipped over it in my introduction, I want to say my pronouns are he, him, and that my official job title at the Evangelical Lutheran Church of Canada is Assistant to the Bishop for Justice and Ecumenical and Interfaith Relations. And again, it was my honor to be able to speak to you today. I wish you all the best in your work.
Oh, great. Paul, that is really good. Lots of news for us. And thank you for bringing us up to date on how KAIROS is doing with its restructuring. And certainly, I think all of us can understand that it takes time to get charitable status, and working with, if we need to work with CRA, we would feel difficulty. So I think there may be some questions, because I see one hand up from Tom. So is that okay for you to take questions?
Oh, well, the speaker fee doubles when there's questions.
Yeah, that's right.
Carry on, you're a rich organization.
That's right. Okay, go ahead, Tom.
Thank you very much, Paul. I appreciate you were perplexed why you were invited. Years ago, we wanted members of what we call the of the steering committee to be at our meetings to give us the perspective, the perspective that only a person on the steering committee can give us. And thank you very much. That was a wonderful explanation. It explains a lot of things to me. But I want to recount a story involving Paul, because I think the whole notion of KAIROS is to be relational. I believe it was the 2009 conference we had in Cornwall, and Paul and I and a young lady from Montreal were traveling together, if I recall correctly. And we ended up going to dropping this young lady off in Montreal. Her parents were very gracious to us, and we had a very nice chat with the parents, etc. That was an important moment in my life. Maybe you don't remember it, Paul, but I do remember how gracious you were with the young lady's family, etc. And it's that type of relationality that helps to build the KAIROS movement. Nothing else works, but things like that do work. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Tom. And that is why, Paul, we did want someone from the steering committee to be present to bring greetings to us. I know that you live in what would be the Manitoba KAIROS area, but yeah, but it was great that you were available and so willing to come and also attend the whole conference from early for you this morning. So
I do remember the ride from Cornwall to Montreal, because I believe the tiny little car we were in scraped its bottom when we entered the freeway from all the luggage in the trunk. But and I'm only perplexed because you have steering committee members from your own region. That's the only reason I'm perplexed.
all right. Oh, Paul, I think I have to admit then. Okay, I admit I'm a Lutheran. So I knew you were from Lutheran Church, so I thought, oh, I'll reach out to you because you'll be sure to respond to me. Okay, so thank you. And then I'm going to go on now in our schedule and invite a report from Shannon Neufeldt from the KAIROS staff.
Thanks, Sherilyn. Good to see you all. And what I've got for you today is not so much a report as an invitation to learn more and to engage. I have prepared some slides to make this as engaging as possible for you. So if you'll just give me a moment, I will put these up, and Beth is going to assist me by also sharing some links as we go along. And I thank you for stepping in earlier, Beth, and now we have another chance to work together. So you have just heard about the Jubilee campaign from several different perspectives, and I want you to invite you to read about Jubilee from all of the KAIROS pillars, the areas that we work in. They all relate to the vision of Jubilee. We have a new booklet for you, and in this booklet, we learn how Jubilee resonates with Indigenous worldviews, and it's called to look deeply into the heart of how we relate to the land, to each other, and to Mother Earth. We will find faithfulness in this booklet in the call to restore balance by addressing ecological debt. We will feel the promise of freedom for migrant workers. We'll learn how Jubilee is not only a spiritual practice, but also a political and economic reordering. So it's hot off the press. I invite you to check it out. You can find it in the Animator's Toolkit. There you will also find a new briefing note on the UN framework on sovereign debt. So check out the toolkit, check out these two new documents. Leah Schifferah is Migrant Justice Lead. She's on the left here, and this picture is from when she was attending the 69th session of the United Nations Commission on the Status of Women. She wrote in her blog after that, which you may have read, but I'm going to quote it just in case you didn't or don't remember. Attending these sessions in New York was nothing short of transformative. There are many challenges facing women, especially women who are migrants. Yet there is an energetic and powerful community of change makers around the world leading change. So if you want to read the rest of her reflection, we'll give you that link as well. Migrant Justice Program aims to center migrant voices through storytelling, education, and experiential learning activities. So I've highlighted just 3 examples here. The migrant worker exercise is a 2 to 3 hour exercise where participants take on the identities of potential migrant workers and walk in their shoes for a time. The staff and steering committee experienced a shortened version of this and found it very impactful. Leah and partners are looking for opportunities to share the exercise. If you would like to host, you could get in touch with me and I will help you set it up. Right now, we are near the beginning of the launch of a mini docu-series. 4 interviews, I believe, have been done, maybe more. And Dee's Journey, A Promise Betrayed, A Voice for Change, is one of the first of those. You can check that out. There's an article and a recording that you can listen to. And now you might regret that I'm going to say you have missed this one, but in the interest of reporting, I want to let you know that KAIROS supported the Collaborative Network to End Exploitation and Mixed Company Theater, who partnered on Harvest Justice, Twice the Speed of Lightning. It was a fascinating interactive production that worked with the stories of migrant workers, a dramatization of migrant worker experiences, and then an opportunity for the audience to engage in the storyline and see how we could make changes. This ran in Guelph and Toronto at the beginning of October, and I was very pleased to be able to see it. That's a photo in the top right there from that production. It was really great, and I appreciate that Leah connected us with that. Murray was introduced by Paul, and so I'll just say I had put a picture in here. He's one of our newer staff, and he is, of course, directing, overseeing the Indigenous programs, which includes the program coordinator and the KAIROS blanket exercise team. Brandy is our new Indigenous rights program coordinator. Brandy has been working with the Indigenous Rights Circle. She will be leading in-person meetings with that circle in Toronto in early November. She is then very quickly, she's got a busy November preparing to go to COP with Beth Lorimer, who you met this morning, and with Sylvia. Early in Brandy's time with us, she graced us with 13 teachings, 13 blogs during Indigenous History Month in June. These teachings are relevant at any time, so if you missed them in June, I would encourage you to go back and take a look. Maybe read one at a time, one a day, until you finish them up, and let them guide your thinking and your actions around reconciliation. They were introduced saying, "We honor the trailblazers, past and present, who walk with courage, culture, and conviction." And I listed just 3 of the examples there. I want to give you a very quick update on the KAIROS blanket exercise. These are 3 highlights that are current. An Indigenous Advisory Circle was established earlier this year. In September, the first with this new model, the model of partnership and fully Indigenous-led. The first facilitator and instructor training happened in person in Vancouver in September. And a third highlight, Alfredo will be taking the World Blanket Exercise to the World Indigenous Peoples Conference on Education in New Zealand in November. Like I said, a busy month. And I want to mention, Beth told you lots about the advocacy work and about Jubilee that she's doing. And unless I missed it, she didn't mention COP or go into much detail. I want to share that we have a strong delegation, that is all women, Indigenous, youth, and global partner perspectives. So I have just briefly put their names up here. Those names will go onto the website very shortly, including the names of our global partners. And so you can take a quick look now, but know that you will get an announcement about this very soon. So please keep these people in your hearts and minds as you hear about the news from COP, as you follow along, and watch for their blogs, watch for the social media, amplify their voices. And you too can be involved. I'm realizing that I didn't select this link, but if you are very interested in the Animators Circle, the first meeting is happening on Monday. Send me a note and I can get you connected for, I believe it's 1 o'clock on Monday, the first meeting. A group of people that will work together to animate the voices of these folks on the ground and stay really connected to that work. I have one more slide here, and that is about Danielle's work for this month. Danielle is Africa Partnerships and Global Climate Justice Program Coordinator. And in the next week, she will be in Uganda to be part of a gathering of the Fellowship of Christian Councils and Churches in the Great Lakes and Horn of Africa. We know that organization as FECLAHA in their acronym, and they have put together an event that is about leadership, regional integration, and creation. The church as an actor for holistic peace. So I just wanted to give you a few highlights from the work that has been going on, and just again invite your engagement. There are many opportunities at this point. While our colleagues and our delegates are at COP, there's the opportunity to hold a Candles for COP vigil on the weekend of November 14th to 16th, or a Jubilee walk, and that you can find the details of on the Development and Peace website. And I apologize that a few of these links are missing from my list. But if you can't find them, let me know and I can get them to you. Jubilee walks and Candles for COP will happen on the same weekend, and we invite you to bring your Jubilee petitions to either of those occasions and to keep the people at COP in mind. All of it is integrated, all of it is intersectional and impacts one another. So we thank you so much for your presence and your participation, and I'll hand it back over to Sherilyn.
Oh, thank you, Shannon. I was busy trying to take notes of all the things that you're announcing, which is really, really a lot of in ways of engaging in many of the different issues that KAIROS is involved with. So thank you for that. And are there any questions and comments for you that are coming from the people who are here at the meeting? Anybody have? Just put your hands up. I think Jim.
Yes,
go
sure.
ahead.
Yes, Sherilyn. I just want to mention that Ruth Cruikshank has bowed out of KAIROS. She resigned this year, so I just wanted to make people aware of that. Ruth has been active for years in our region, and very much appreciated.
Mm-hmm. Yes, thank you, Jim. Yeah, Ruth, who lives in Shelburne now, I think, right?
Yeah.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Jim. I would just say that the Conference of the Parties, the COP 30 is from November the 21st to the 30th. So be looking forward to hearing lots of feedback from that big conference in Brazil.
Can I just echo Paul's comments earlier and say that our staff are amazing, and
Yes.
I think that everything and the two new staff that were outlined there, Murray and Brandy, bring their great expertise to KAIROS more recently, and I think it's wonderful that we have such great staff, and they keep us all engaged, which is fantastic. So thank you, Shannon, and your colleagues for all that you do.
Yes. Yes, that is for sure. They've been so helpful to us for this conference too, haven't they, Brian? Yeah, giving
Yeah.
us the support. Yes. And suggestions. All right. Thank you to Paul and thank you to Shannon for bringing us updates from KAIROS National, excuse me. And now we'll go on in our agenda to reports. And the first report I have on my agenda is the financial statement for 2024 and 25. And so this will be presented by me because I will be taking over as treasurer as Betty Ann has resigned. And so I will just emphasize that in the last 2 years, our group does not have any revenue, and the expenses have been bank charges at the CIBC, and also then last fall we had a fall gathering at the end of November, and so we had honoraria for the speakers at our event last November, and then this year we will have we do have honoraria for the two speakers that we had this morning. And so that will leave us with a bank balance of, at the end of this year, of $135.37, which is not very much. So I think during 2026, we will have to make a representation for funding to help us out with, particularly it would be if we present a fall gathering next fall, that we would have need for additional funds for speakers. That's what I would foresee. In the meantime, we are also in with the Great Lakes St. Lawrence KAIROS account. It's been established for a number of years, and we're now in the Elaine is really helpful in getting the signing authorities changed. So we're just in the midst of doing that with the CIBC. So any questions about the financial report?
Carolyn,
Yes,
I've been on the planning committee for this, and I should probably know the answer to this question, but did we not make a application to KAIROS for some support for the speakers for the event today?
Well, it was just determined when I looked through the current account that we had enough to fund and pay for our speakers for today. And then we would leave us still with a small amount of money in the bank account, and we'll apply next year.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
So we'll go on to the verbal reports from all of us, and we'll start with my chair report as follows. Here are the activities and events in which the coordinating committee has been involved in the past 2 years. Continuing in the pattern of past years, we plan twice yearly coordinating committee meetings. These online meetings allow the KAIROS groups from across the large Great Lakes St. Lawrence region to share their achievements and areas of interest. The executive of the coordinating committee met often for planning the twice yearly regional newsletters. And those newsletters are available for reading on the KAIROS website. The executive also planned the online gathering of last year, KAIROS Momentum, it was called. And this smaller gathering is held in the year between the biennial fall conferences. We had KAIROS folks from across the country join, similar to what we had this morning. KAIROS staff gave out updates on each of the KAIROS areas of concern, namely migrant justice, Indigenous rights, ecological justice, and gender justice. This fall conference, Who Owes Whom? Turning Our Debt into Hope, has been planned by the executive, with the welcomed help of Reverend Brian McIntosh, soon to be joining the executive of the coordinating committee. We have made attempts to contact and engage people in the region in KAIROS involvement. In July last year, I was invited to give a presentation about KAIROS at Trinity Primrose United Church in Shelburne. In January, Elizabeth Snell organized for letters to be sent to KAIROS church leadership, hoping to engage recipients in this Jubilee year campaign of Turn Debt into Hope. We live in hope for new participants in KAIROS. I want to emphasize the tremendous assistance we receive from Shannon Neufeldt and all the other staff members at KAIROS in our justice initiatives. Thank you very much to the staff of KAIROS. Thank you to Elizabeth Snell, Janice Elzer-Ethie, and Lane Garreau, coordinating committee members who have helped with the initiatives above. It is a privilege to meet with these good and creative people with our common goal of seeking justice and peace. Any questions of me or comments?
I have no questions. I only have a comment that you've been an able and welcoming leader for our region. And I appreciate your attendance at events, even in Toronto, in order to try to represent the region in various places. So thank you for your leadership, Sherilyn.
Oh, it's been a privilege, right? And this position, which Lane did previous to me for 4 years, brings a lot of chance for learning too, and especially like this morning, even just now learning. I do go on the KAIROS website with some frequency, but to learn all the things that Shannon was just telling us, it's really they're really very busy, the staff. And so then I will call upon you, Elizabeth, to do a report from the regional representatives, KAIROS National. Now,
You're muted, Elizabeth.
oh yeah, there's Elizabeth, yes. Yeah. There, are you, yeah. Did that come up suddenly, Elizabeth? Sorry.
No, that's fine. I'm
Okay.
sorry.
Okay.
I'm sorry. I was, and I wanted to thank you, Sherilyn, for your able, dedicated leadership. My main liaison with the KAIROS representatives across Canada has been through monthly leadership workshops organized by Shannon Neufeldt, and they've been presentations and discussions on KAIROS areas of work. All were conducted on Zoom. Since our 2023 network development meeting, the topics have included the 60s Scoop through videos of survivors' stories, how to encourage local KAIROS groups, the Gaza ceasefire pilgrimage and the church leaders' insights, discussion of results of a survey of KAIROS priorities, how to encourage formation of a new local committee, ways for KAIROS to connect with local clergy, and presentations by youth from the KAIROS program Strengthening Voices for a Just Transition, who they were very eloquently explained how the inadequate response to the climate crisis is really a crisis in imagination of what is possible. Many of the 2025 workshops dealt with turned that into Hope Campaign, which included an outline of the campaign, more in-depth context presented by Dean Detloff and Beth Lorimer, and presenters from Egypt, Mariel, and Honduras, summarizing the extreme effects of the climate crisis and debt crisis on those countries. And other regional representative duties are sort of summarized by what Cheryl Lynn presented, and participation in those various things that she outlined of over what happens with the coordinating committee. So that covers the regional representative report.
Oh, Elizabeth, when I mentioned about the twice yearly newsletters, I didn't give you the credit, which I should have done, because you largely write those newsletters, and so has Janice Elser-Ethie, and been mostly involved in writing. Elaine often goes through and does a check and finds illustrations or photographs for us to put onto it to make it more attractive. So yes, so thank you very much for those all your contributions to the twice yearly newsletters. And then we can go on to a report from you, Elaine, as a social media coordinator.
Okay, thank you very much, Sherilyn. Traditionally, we always communicated through email. We had an email list, but in the last year, we've basically merged that list with the list that Shannon holds at the national office, because her list is actually greater than ours. So as a communications person, I'm really in charge of putting things on social media, on our Facebook page and on our Instagram page. We have 207 followers on our Facebook page. And in the last 90 days, we've had 198 people view the events on those pages. 64% of those were followers and 36 were non-followers. So it's always possible to reach people who are not necessarily following us. And on Instagram, which is more new, we have only 22 followers, and we've had 49 views in the last month. So our goal should be to get new followers so that our messages spread more widely. And I think three things need to happen. Number one, I need to post more regularly. I need to post weekly, and I haven't always done that. Secondly, I have to invite all of you. Some of you are very good at doing this, sending me a notice of an event in your area, so that I can put it on Facebook and Instagram. I put it on both of them simultaneously. And then thirdly, I would ask you to encourage people in your email groups to join our Facebook and our Instagram group, both of which are called KAIROS Great Lakes St. Lawrence. Thanks.
Yeah, thanks, Elaine. That reminds me to tell people about the email list, the contact list, which is, as you said, has been used for quite a few years. And that when, sorry, just reaching for my cap. Sorry, here we go. When our Great Lakes St. Lawrence newsletter is sent out, it goes to over 3,000 contacts that KAIROS has. So it goes out to a lot of people. And thank you for giving us the stats on the recent people that are involved, or do come to the Facebook site, Elaine. All right. Any questions or comments about communication from anyone? Of course, that's always important. Always never can do too much when it comes to communication.
Sorry for being so verbose today, but I do have a question, and and a comment. It is the 3,000 people on the KAIROS Canada list aware of the links for the Facebook and or Instagram postings that our region does. And I ask that in part because of the larger circulation list that Shannon has for people, you know, related to us in our region. But also, and my comment, I guess, is related as well, and that is that when we are issuing any documents of any kind, whether it's a report or an agenda or something like that, maybe we should be able to create a form, a template that would have an email contact and our Facebook and Instagram addresses on them, so that we can constantly be reminding ourselves to, you know, or others who see our reports or whatever, and I would encourage our printing on those templates. That's just an idea I just came up with, and if you want to talk about it later, the coordinating team, we can do that.
Yeah, now that's a good suggestion for our next coordinating committee meeting. But I'll go back to your first question for Elaine.
Just that, no, I don't think I have sent that out to, and I've just made a note of it. I'll send Shannon a note, and maybe she will be able to combine it with a larger message about Instagram and Facebook links to all 5 regions. That would be a great thing for all of us to have.
And I think Shannon has just put a message in the chat too. It's looking there, okay. I think I gave the wrong dates for the COP. November 10th to the 24th, right? I'm sorry, I gave the wrong dates for COP. Okay. And now we will move on to getting a short, and maybe just one point. Oh, go ahead, Elaine.
Sorry, I see that Tom has his hand up, Sherilyn.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry, I didn't see. Let me go back here.
You're muted, Tom.
Yeah, no, Tom, go ahead, Tom.
When Brian was talking, I liked the idea of having some sort of common form, because I am not going to go on Instagram or Facebook or anything else for that matter. I'm going to be communicating by email. So if you have a form that combines all the things, I will find out the information that I would be looking for. But I can't handle all these other forms of stuff out there. It's a waste of time even talking to me about it. But if you communicate with me by email, I'd love that. So I endorse Brian's suggestion, and I would like it taken seriously and move forward. Thank you.
I can't add Elaine because you know what you post on Facebook, but I would suggest that most things that you would be posting would be from other sites and from other emails and sort of things. So don't worry about, I don't think you need to worry about too much about missing things, Tom, if you don't go on Facebook. What would you say?
Also posts our events, our local group events, right?
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
You know, if it was anyway, yeah.
Yeah. Any other questions and comments that I happen to miss? All right, so then I'll go on to ask from reports from the sub-regional groups. And so maybe I could start with from the Guelph group.
It's Elizabeth.
Oh, I guess that's me. I'm Jan Nielsen. I'm very new to KAIROS. I just joined well, I've known about KAIROS, but I just joined as a rep from our church, All Saints Lutheran Anglican Church in Guelph, a few months ago. And so what I did as a way of starting to do something, I decided when I heard about turning debt into hope that I could take petitions to my church. I took them for the whole month of April. And then I also, we have a market on Saturday mornings in Guelph, and I took the petitions to the market in Guelph, and I got a really great response from everyone. I have also encouraged friends on Facebook to sign the online petition. I guess I'll go to a family birthday party tomorrow and bring petitions along. That's it for Guelph.
Oh, well, thank you very much, Jen. I'm really, you can see my face. I hope to be able to meet you in person sometime.
Yeah.
And thank you very much for joining. And I think that perhaps all that we've presented might be, I hope it's not overwhelming for you if you're new to KAIROS, because we're kind of going with this meeting like people have attended it before.
Yeah.
You know, people know about it. And so, yes, just reach out, of course, to Elizabeth or to me,
Yes.
or to Brian, if you would like to have any more information about the KAIROS in a general sense. Yeah. Yes.
I'm learning lots.
Okay.
Thank you.
And very much welcome to you. And
Thank you.
You're in an area there in Guelph, which is going to be it's going to be a very good KAIROS group to be involved in. Yes.
I agree.
John Josie, I see you there. Would you be able to bring us a welcome from the southwestern part of Ontario?
Hello, everyone. Welcome from Southwestern Ontario, KAIROS chapter. We are a loose group that covers that general area around London. I'm from Ingersoll myself. We have about 2 meetings a year because of our diversity. We have about 30 members on our mailing list and 10 members that attend 2 meetings a year. Okay. Very ecumenical group, very interesting when we meet to hear everybody's perspective. If I would have to highlight something, I think some of you know that from our previous reports, they would get pretty detailed and long because all of our members would then report from their own areas and programs. So videos and other in-person programs and meetings regarding Indigenous reconciliation and healing would be my highlights, specifically related to the tribes in our area and the leadership in our area. Indigenous leadership, including the Chippewa of the Thames, the Oneida, the Munsee, and the Six Nations. I think I will leave it at that.
Oh, thank you, John.
For my 1 minute.
Yes. Oh, right. Can hardly summarize because you do report. Your reports are always really good and show how involved in very many different kind of justice issues groups are from London and Ingersoll and yourself. And yes, so we really appreciate having you and your wife come to our meetings. And it's great to see you this morning or this afternoon. Now it's afternoon. Thank you, John.
Thank you. Thank you.
And can I call upon from Ottawa, John Williams, are you able to tell us any updates from Ottawa?
Okay, thank you. The message is not great that the Ottawa group has decided to suspend operations. I think when we started, we had good staff support. We had Ed Bianchi, the Indigenous rights coordinator here in Ottawa, and was very supportive of what we did. He retired and actually became a member of our committee, but for a number of years, there was no replacement for him. Now we understand that there's not 1 but 2 people in the office, Brenda Bilodeau and is it Murray Pruden? Well,
Murray Pruden, yeah.
Yeah. But even though we've been, I think we've made it known over the years that our focus is Indigenous reconciliation, neither of the staff people the new staff people, I don't know how new they are because there was never an announcement to us, have reached out to us to see how we could be involved in KAIROS' national work and at the local level. And so I think there was just a bit of a disillusionment with KAIROS, and so the group decided that it was not really the members that didn't think it was worthwhile to continue. So I've agreed to stay on to, I guess, be an ad hoc or a member of the coordinating group. But I think that for the time being, at least, there's not going to be an active chapter here in Ottawa.
And thank you, John, for your years that you've been involved in, especially in Indigenous and with your focus of Indigenous rights. And it's as years go on, it's understandable that sometimes things can't continue the same as they have been. I would welcome you to be able to stay on and liaison if you can see that John Josie has the kind of things that where he meets with groups that and people that are involved in their at their church level, their parish level, and they get together and share that sort of thing. So yes, and in keeping aware of what's happening in Ottawa. So thank you very much. And we can certainly talk again at our coordinating committee meeting that we'll probably have toward the end of November. So thank you. And Tom, you have a question.
Did I talk about John's report? I do appreciate what you've had to say, John. Ottawa has been a problem for the Great Lakes St. Lawrence region for a long time. Years ago, there was something called Capital Area Justice Initiatives, and it worked. But when that disappeared, because they disappeared 20 odd years ago, and then what happened with Ed Bianchi, Ed Bianchi was a charismatic figure in KAIROS, and I called them Ed's groupies. Ed had he had a network of people that he knew in Ottawa, and they knew what he was doing. But the problem was there was lack of coordination between the people working in the office in Ottawa or the office in Toronto and the local group. Lack of coordination altogether. There's no sense of reciprocity or anything else. Now, John, you were talking about you were expecting the two new people, Pruden and Bilodeau, to reach out to you. No, I think you have a responsibility as a group, a KAIROS group that should not disappear, to reach out to those folks and help them see the connection that's necessary. It's really absolutely necessary for you to become Pruden and Bilodeau groupies, because that's how it seems to work in Ottawa. You got to do something about it. You just can't wait for them to do something because they don't see the connection. And I noticed that with the staff, some of the staff in the Toronto office, they don't see the connection with the volunteer group, but they don't see it at all. They figure that they do their wonderful things and something happens by magic. That's why Shannon is so important. She has a job to directly connect with the network. But others in the KAIROS office in Toronto didn't see it at all. So don't expect them to know what the issue is until you become a groupie. So I would suggest, frankly, that you become interested in the Pruden issues and the Bilodeau issues, and you say, I want to support you on that, and then you will have you will have the potential of a very strong KAIROS group in Ottawa. Just saying, that's my observation after so many years of watching these things.
I would posit though that from the years that the last few years that I've been on involved with KAIROS at the at the coordinating executive, that I found that the staff that we've interacted with have been nothing but helpful to us. So I would say that, yeah. All right, and then I'll add on to the asking for input from Simcoe County, please.
Hi, everyone. Catherine here.
Well, hi,
So I'm the co-chair with Elaine for Simcoe County, so I'm doing the quick report. So 2024 and 2025, we were doing a lot of work with the Christians for Palestine and trying to involve to bring justice to that issue. This year, we've had a major kerfuffle in that the city of Barrie has declared a state of emergency on homelessness. So that's where our office has been the last year and a bit, is trying to work with and meet with the Director of Social Services at Simcoe County, the County of Simcoe. And just to highlight what's happened, 2 years ago, Barrie made the national news when City Council passed a bylaw making it illegal to give food, water, tents, tarps, or medical attention to people on the street and on city property. Once they was told it was a human rights violation, they walked back from the bylaw after a national outcry. And then 2 years later, so this past October, they pushed through another bylaw, almost the same, all in one night with no public notice. Again, making it illegal to give to people on the street, in public, on public property. So on October 18th, there was a public protest called Loaves and Fishes in downtown Barrie on city property. It was not a KAIROS event, but it was organized by KAIROS members, Reverend Simon Bell of St. Margaret Anglican Church, and the ministers of Grace United and St. Mary's Catholic Church. They offered simple idea of giving food to strangers at the event as a way to defy the bylaw and show such lack of compassion for people trapped in the homelessness and unsheltered world. So 120 people participated. So Simcoe County KAIROS, we do a lot of our work through partnerships. So just to help John out, and after what Cantos mentioned this morning about being a university student and trying to look at the global perspective, it's reaching out to the other groups as partners, maybe through University of Ottawa or Carleton University, and reaching out to the students. There might be some connection there. And I'm speaking, I should be doing the same. We've got Georgian College here, so we've got to continue our social media and reaching out to our young adults. Thank you very much. I do have to go, so I'm sorry to leave early.
All right.
But thank you very much, and I'll talk to Elaine later about the rest of the meeting.
Yeah, we will be at the nominations. Thank you, Catherine. And also I thank you to Rachel Warden, who's just said that she has to get away. And also thank you to John, who said he's had to get away too. And so I'll just call upon Toronto West. So that'll be Brian for their quick report.
I'll try to be quick. In the last year and a half, we've held 3 workshops. Most recently in May, we held a migrant workers justice workshop, attended by about 30, not even that, 25 people. Sherilyn was there. I appreciate her coming from far away. And on September 30th, we recognized, as we have for about 4 years now, the National Day for Truth and Reconciliation, otherwise known as Orange Shirt Day, with a gathering that garnered about 200 and some odd people in attendance. It was wonderful. Down on the lakeshore at Humber Bay Shores at a art installation called Campfire that the City of Toronto had collaborated with and unveiled with the Mississaugas of the Credit last September, a year ago. So we were drawing attention to that art installation. It's beautiful. And also honoring with our guest from the Mississaugas of the Credit what that day ought to be, and in terms of memory and efforts to build right relations. We have a new thing called the Palestine Land Exercise coming up on December the 13th, and I will be sharing that a poster about that, Elaine, with you for circulation more broadly sometime soon, probably in early November. when we pull everything together. But the Palestine land exercise doesn't duplicate or replicate the KAIROS blanket exercise, but it is similar in that it highlights land dispossession over many years of the Palestinian people. And it tries to bring many years of history, complex history, to a public that may not know much about it, or about the conflict and the roots of the conflict, and not just since October 7th, 2023. So that Palestine land exercise will be advertised and promoted within our network more broadly coming up here soon. And we have about 10 people in our group, about 5 of which are very active. I was named the new chair because Jan O'Hearn stepped aside from being the chair, but she's still active in our group. And we're happy to try to be the only active group in Toronto, basically. And we carry on our work.
Thank you, Brian. And that December the 13th, I just looked up, that's a Saturday. So I'll be able to keep that on my calendar. Yes, Elaine?
Brian, you'll be happy to know that Paul Shepherd has agreed to start a group in Toronto West. So maybe we will.
Toronto East.
Toronto East, right.
Yeah.
You're Toronto West.
Yeah.
So there should be a little bit more activity there.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you, Elaine. And I'll give a brief message from York Region KAIROS Group, and that is that last Saturday we held a Turn Debt into Hope for Everyone at Holy Cross Lutheran Church. So the church and KAIROS did the event together, and we had 2 speakers, 2 really expert speakers, who were one was from Randy Halusa DeLay from Development and Peace. And we had 20 people attending. Sorry about my cat. So thank you. So now for the agenda for our meeting, I'm going on to now asking for a report about our nominations and voting. And Elaine, I'll let you show the nominations that our nomination slate. Okay.
Okay, so it's
Elaine.
Janice, and
Elaine.
I'm doing the minutes and I can't see it. So I'm gonna need someone to send it to me by email, please.
And just check your muting, Elaine.
Oh, I'm
thank you.
sorry.
No,
I
that's
was just
okay.
asking if people could see it, but if Janice can't see it, does that mean no one else can see it either?
No, I can see it.
We can see it fine.
We can see it. Yeah.
Okay. I will send it to you, Janice. So the nomination slate is as follows. The positions that people have accepted to fill. The regional rep, our chair, will be Elizabeth Snell. Our regional representative to KAIROS National Network, who is also the co-chair, will be Brian McIntosh. Secretary will be Janice Elser-Itzier. Treasurer Sherilyn Sprackman, who served for the last few years as our chair. Thank you so much, Sherilyn. I will continue to limp along as the communications coordinator. I hope to improve myself. And the sub-regional reps for each region that we have for Guelph, Jan Nielsen. Welcome, Jan. For Ottawa, John Williams has graciously accepted to continue to report back on social justice going on in Ottawa, even if the group itself is not active. Simcoe County, Catherine Manson will be our representative. Jane Sullivan with South Georgian KAIROS couldn't be here today, but Jane Sullivan has accepted to be the rep for the South Georgian region. John Josie has, thank you, John, for continuing to be the rep for Southwest Ontario. Paul Shepard could not be here today either, but he also has accepted to be the representative for Toronto East. Brian McIntosh, thank you for being the rep for Toronto West. And Lori Yacado, who could not be here today, has accepted to be the rep for York Region. So we have 3 regions at the moment who are dormant: Dufferin Region, Durham Region, and Manitoulin Region. And Jim Lindsay, I want to thank you for being the heart and soul of our Dufferin Region for so long. So there is a motion, but maybe before we put the motion to the floor that this slate of candidates be accepted as presented, I would ask Tom. Tom has his hand up if he would like to say something.
I'd just like to have a question. What is South Georgian?
South Georgian is also part of Simcoe County, but also bordering on Bruce Grey. And it is the churches in Midland, Collingwood, Creemore, all of the surrounding area around Barrie, because they just don't get enough say. There's not enough representation in the Barrie group to go out that far.
Well, congratulations on spawning another KAIROS group in your proximate area.
Yeah.
That's a good thing. Thank you.
It is. Any other questions before we put the motion to the floor?
I guess I just have a question about our name. If we decide to become Toronto West Mississauga, are we able to do that on our own?
Yep.
We don't need this group's approval to do that, right?
I don't think so. Back in the day, there was an Oakville, Mississauga group, and unfortunately, we had to disband. So I don't see a problem with that happening. Brian, do you want us to change the name now?
No, not yet, but I suspect within 6 months we'll be asking you to change.
Okay. So Sherilyn, if you're okay with that, I'll put the motion to the floor and then ask for a seconder.
Yes.
The slate of candidates for 2025 with any additions or changes be accepted as presented.
Yes, that's good.
Second.
And may I please get a seconder? Brian. And then we will vote to accept the slate. Do you think that's the way to do it, Elaine?
Yeah.
Yes, okay.
Should we ask for other nominations?
Yes, we could.
Oh,
yeah. Are there any other nominations for these positions that have been put forward to you on the slate?
Well, I think I see that Karen McPherson is still here. Karen, you are you're part of Toronto West, correct?
Yes.
Yes, okay.
All right, I'm hearing no other names to come forward to be on the slate of nominees. Then I'm asking for there to be a vote to to vote for the slate of people to be on the coordinating committee. So put up your hands. I'm not supposed to vote, only to, okay. Thank you very much, Elaine, for that that nomination slate. And we'll look forward to being together in a coordinating committee meeting later on in this fall, probably late November, depending on, this would be now Elizabeth taking over as the reins of doing the chairing of the coordinating committee.
Late November sounds great.
Okay, yeah. And when, now I'll just go on. Are there anyone wants to speak to some new business or speak to ideas before we finish with a closing prayer?
I see Mary.
Hi, I'm from Nova Scotia and I've been following your meeting and I'm just really, thank you so much. There were so many ideas and so many wonderful people. I just wanted to thank you because I've been listening in.
Thank
So
you.
thank you very much.
Thank you, Mary.
Oh, you're
Thanks
very
for being
welcome,
with
Mary.
us.
Yeah, thank you for staying on the meeting.
It's good. Thank you.
And anything else? I have to apologize for my cat.
I do know that when we have that coordinating committee meeting in November, that will be an opportunity for the KAIROS local groups to submit a more fulsome written report.
Right.
So we'll want to encourage you to create that within the next month, probably, or so, you know, as a summary of the last year and a half's work or whatever.
Yes, yeah, and probably a summary of the work that you've been involved with since April of this year, because we had a coordinating committee meeting in April, and so then it would be from the last 6 months or so. And thank you, Ryan, for bringing that up. And we do use those reports are often very fulsome and gives lots of things that are being done, and they're captured. The reports are captured in the minutes from that meeting. Yes, Tom?
It's just an observation about the evolution of KAIROS. KAIROS developed 25 years ago as a result of the coalitions coming together, Canadian coalitions. But what I find now is happening, especially with the what was presented earlier today with the thing that Shannon was talking about, we're creating coalitions around the world, and that is taking us to another level of relationality and reciprocity. So a new KAIROS is emerging from the exercise of having coalitions. I think that's the genius of KAIROS is to accept these coalitions and build from that. So yes, I see that as the genius of KAIROS, building on the coalitions. We have to find them, because I didn't know anything about the in Toronto West. There was another group that co-sponsored the event on September 30th. It was EcuLinks.
Yeah, EcuLinks.
Yeah, and it's a coalition that developed independently of KAIROS, but yet you discover each other and you realize we could work together. And I think that's what we have to find all the time. We have to find these natural groups that are going to ally with us somehow or other in a relational sort of way, and that helps to build KAIROS in a much better way. So I think KAIROS is going places in a very positive way, but we have to make sure we don't leave people behind. We have to exercise reciprocity, as Sarah said, and be relational, deeply relational. And we have to make sure that we don't leave anybody out in the process. I noticed that the KAIROS theme is about women, and yet in that group that Shannon talked about, there was one fellow, and he came to our conference the last time we met personally. That was Tarek Zoukbi. So that's very important, that even men, one among a dozen women, it seems, are included. Just saying, we shouldn't overemphasize the women aspect without and lower the impact of the few men we do have in this organization. Anyway,
can I also just say that this being a regional committee, we have a province. And I'm not sure how much we do on provincial advocacy. We do a lot of federal advocacy. We do a lot of local advocacy, but I'm not sure we do much on the provincial advocacy. And I did attend a meeting of faith leaders down at Queen's Park this past week, where there were Mennonites there and, you know, people from various faith groups, some staff from various churches and volunteers, myself included. And KAIROS needs to be aware of some things coming down the pipe in the province. For instance, a bill on education that is just so regressive, and it will devolve our education system into a kind of private enterprise, it seems to me. And there's lots of people concerned about it, but there's a petition to withdraw the bill that I have and would like to share with KAIROS network in our region, i.e. in Ontario. But I need to, I guess, just bring that to our attention, that there are provincial issues as well that we need to address as a group who cares from a faith-based perspective about justice and peace. So.
Yes, and I think I can recall one time when KAIROS was asked to become involved in a provincial way. You're right, it has often been national, right? So in a provincial way, it was before the Ontario election, which could have been around 2019, and there was a group, a coalition called Ontario for All. And they asked, and I happen to know one of the persons who was working in Ontario for All, so they asked me if KAIROS could become involved. And what I did was, Jennifer Henry was the executive director at the time, and I asked her for you know, could KAIROS lend their name to this group, because it was kind of spearheaded by Daniela Zanotti, who was leading up United Way, Greater Toronto at the time, and he had asked for KAIROS. So she said, "Oh, it's a no-brainer." we lended KAIROS to it. So otherwise, I'm really not sure, Brian. Certainly, you could speak with.
Well, I'm going to take the liberty of circulating this petition.
Sure.
Yeah, please do.
To I guess Elaine and Cheryl, and Cheryl Ann, I'm not sure where it goes from here or how I would get that out to the broader network. Shannon's still with us too, but I don't know whether that's relevant or not, or something KAIROS can do. But
yeah,
anyway,
certainly can be in right talking to her. Yes, Tom, did you have another comment?
I endorse everything that Brian has had to say. I'm so glad that you're on this leadership team, Brian. You're going to help us move forward. But I feel for the last number of years since the Ford government's been elected, I do not have a member of parliament, the provincial legislature, that I can actually talk to. We are just treated as trash if we raise any issues of justice. So I endorse that, because lack of representation is the beginning of dictatorship, and the Ford government is a form of dictatorship that I find vile.
Yes, I absolutely agree.
Thank you.
Vile and disgusting.
Remembering that KAIROS raises issues and is not politically involved.
Well, I know that.
Yeah, right. This is just here, just on here. Just
But
saying.
they will lie to your face in their office. They will say the member of parliament is in Toronto, and you find them person deeking across her office, not wanting to talk to anybody that raises issues of significance. It's disgusting.
We know too that a lot of the groups do partnerships locally, so it's not just national.
Yes, that's right. Partnerships are very local often, aren't they, Elizabeth? Yeah. All right. I think we've been meeting people have been sitting for a very long period of time, and it's time for us to adjourn for the rest of today, Saturday, besides which we all can look forward to the Blue Jays playing tonight.
Yeah.
And I will finish with I haven't got a complete prayer. I have a devotion to share with you. And it's from Scripture, and the devotion is from Romans 15:13. I'm finishing with, "The God of all hope fill you with all joy and peace in believing, so that you may abound in hope by the power of the Holy Spirit. And amen to that.
Amen. Thank you.
Amen. Thanks for staying with us, Paul, as well. It's lovely to have you still here with us.
Yes, thank you to everyone for all this length of time, and thank you for all your and Paul Paul, thank you. Okay, goodbye, everyone.
Blessings,
Cheryl
Paul.
Lynn.